Companies store the list of their products and other related information in databases. Large corporations may use more sophisticated and advanced databases, but small to medium companies may use Excel to do that. Now, let us create such a list of products in Excel. We're going to be typing that information in this worksheet. Our example scenario is an imaginary company called Inzara Bookstore, which buys books from wholesalers and then sells them to retail customers. The concepts that we're going to understand and learn here apply to any company selling a list of products or services. When you open Excel, by default, the active cell is the cell A1 as indicated in this name box, and you can see the column letter A and the row number 1 are highlighted. Since the cell A1 is already active, whatever I'm going to type is going to be entered into this cell A1. Before we start entering, let's look at the bar here at the bottom which says ready. We are in the ready mode now. So as soon as I start typing, you can see that it enters into the enter mode. As you can see here now, it is entered into the enter mode. What that means is that now you are entering information into the cell in this worksheet. And I'm still typing, and as soon as I finish typing the name of the book, one thing you have to remember is that this information is still not stored in cell A1 because I'm still in the enter mode, because I'm still typing information. I have not stored this information yet. I'm going to hit the enter key, and as soon as I do that, you can see that now Excel is back to the ready mode, which means the information that I typed in cell A1 is stored in cell A1. The entire workbook has not been saved, but this cell now has the information, the discovery of India. And as you can see here, the name of this book is long, so the name seems to go from cell A1 to B1 and also a little bit into C1. But remember that this information is only within cell A1. We will talk more about this in a few minutes. Let's continue entering the information of the next book. So let's say before I hit the enter key again, if this is not the information that I wanted to enter, it's easy. I can just hit escape and Excel returns back to an empty cell. And if I want to type it again, I can type hit enter again. Now I am in cell A3 as indicated in the name box here, and I'm going to type glimpses of world history. Hit enter. A guide to health, wings of Now I am in cell A6 now, and let's just start with just 5 books for now. Now that we have entered the names of the books, I would like to enter the author names for these books. So in order to do so, I would like to go to cell B1 to start entering the author of the book, The Discovery of India. The way we can do that is use your mouse cursor and click on cell B1, and you can check B1 again in the name box. So you're in cell B1, and also now the cell B1 is highlighted with a slightly thicker black outline border. So now I can start entering the author name here. So I can hit enter again. Now, as you can see here, now cell B2 has become the active cell. And we notice that the name in cell A1 has now shortened. I don't see the entire name. And this is not desired because we want to see the entire name. First, let's understand that Excel still has the entire name of the book in cell A1. How do I know that for sure? Let's try to click on cell A1 and look at this area here. And this area is called the formula bar. And you can see that the entire name of the book is in cell A1. It just is not displayed to us on the screen here, but the entire content is still contained in the cell A1. The formula bar displays the content of a cell when you click on a cell. So now that we have confirmed that the data is still there, but we would like it to be displayed on the screen. In order to fix this problem, we need to understand that the rows, columns, and cells, they all have properties. For example, this column A has a property called width. By default, each column's width is 8.43 units. You can see this when I right-click on this column letter and I select column width. And now I can see that the column width is 8.43 units. And this is the default column width for all the columns in Excel. It's easy to change this column width. With Excel, almost everything can be easily modified. So we can easily modify this column width so that we can see the entire book name. And adjusting column widths can be done by many ways. And we're going to talk about specifically 3 different ways of adjusting your column width. The first method, we can just type in another number here to have a longer, we can type a larger number here to have a wider column. So for example, I can type 15 and hit enter. Now that the column has become wider, but I still cannot see the entire name. So just right-clicking, selecting column width, and typing a number is one method by which you can change the column width. Another method is to take your mouse cursor to the line between column label A and B, and then press the left button on your mouse and drag it. So this is another way of modifying the column width. In this case, as you have seen, it works for the first book name, but then the second book name is longer, and we can still apply the same method and keep dragging, which might be okay in some scenarios. But let's talk about the third method of adjusting the column width, which might be more convenient in many scenarios. You would just take your mouse cursor again to the same spot, but then double click now. Now Excel has auto fitted this column to all the contents within this column. What that means is that all the cells here now will be fully visible to you in this column. So this is a much more convenient and faster way of doing it, but each of these methods might be the best option in certain scenarios. So it's good to know that there are many ways to do exactly the same thing in Excel, and depending on the situation and depending on your own personal preference, you may choose one method or the other. Just like the column width, rows also have properties, and when you right click here on this row number 1 and then select row height, you can see that the rows have a property called height, and that determines the height of each row. And just like the columns, each row can have a different property, but once you select a specific height for a row, for example, let me select 20. Now you can see that the first row is taller than the other rows because this has a height of 20 units compared to the default of 15 units. And it's very easy to change the height back to the default, and also you can use the auto fit just like we did with the column auto fit. You can do the row auto fit, and here I'm going to take my cursor to the line between 1 and 2 and I'm going to double click, and now it is auto fitted and we are back to the same row height for all the rows. Now that we have learned about the column properties and the row properties, specifically the width and the height, let's go back to entering the author names for the 5 books that we have so far. Now A1 is the selected cell, but I want to start entering the author names, and so I need to go to cell B2. And just like we have done before, we can use the mouse cursor and click in cell B2, and if I start typing now, I will be able to type the author name for the second book. You would have noticed that I use the mouse to move to a cell when I need to go to a specific cell. That works, but it's not a great method if you are trying to enter a lot of data. It can become very tiring and it's a very slow process. We need a better method to enter data quickly. We are going to use keyboard to navigate between the cells quickly.